We're up to halacha Vov. Yeah. Menicha l'mayla mishloshet tvachim u'mitzvasa l'micha l'mata me'asara tvachim. Did you hear the words that I just said? I'm going to say them again. Menicha l'mayla mishloshet tvachim u'mitzvasa l'nicha l'mata me'asara tvachim. What did I just say?
It must be above 3, but it should be lower than 1. Right.
Correct. The first part is it has to be above 3. And the second thing is preferred. If you put it higher than esrim amma, you're not yotza. Now, I would just at this point like to interject the famous psak of those poskim who say about Pech Kuflam B'Tes. This is a fascinating question and a fascinating answer. There's a tshuva written by Rabbi Yashiv that's printed in some choveres. I had it about 15 years ago, and then I lost it about 2 or 3 years ago. I found it again. And this year I looked for it again, and I couldn't find it. So probably in another 5 years it'll surface again. And he has a fascinating question on the Gemara. The Gemara speaks about the store owner that he put the menorah in his house. And the Gemara says in the beginning they put it in his house, then he said took it out of his house. And the question Rabbi Yashiv asks, how could you be yotza if you put a menorah inside your store? Doesn't it have to be in Hilchos Chanukah? Right? You understand the question? And Rabbi Yashiv's answer is amazing. He says, who can come into the store? I have a store in the Merkaz, right? Who can come into the store? That's right. So he says that's called a Hilchos Chanukah. Inside the store. At least that's the Gemara's Havamina. Inside the store, a Hilchos Chanukah, even though in Shabbos, if you that's not Hilchos Chanukah, right? But for Hilchos Chanukah, Hilchos Chanukah means a place where the Rabbim are found. And I would like to share with you something very important on this idea. Let's say somebody lives on Nachshon, or he lives on Lachish at the end. And the people, there are stairs to go down from Nachshon to the Merkaz. And the person who's walking down those steps, he can see your menorah. What's the halacha? Is that called that it's...
Where do you live? Doesn't matter. Just the point as he walks up and down the stairs.
Right. Okay, so even though, and this could happen, I have a nephew who lives in Kiryat Sefer. Now, Kiryat Sefer is a very strange place for many reasons. One of the things that's strange about it is they have these houses that straddle the mountain, and people go through the houses to go from one street to the other. Like Harnof. But in Harnof, usually, it says when you come in, you're not allowed to go through, right? In Harnof, they're pretty strict on that thing. In Kiryat Sefer, they're not. And people go through all the time. So I told my nephew, I said, you could light in your front door, because all the people going through your building are, it's not like the Cheder Madrigot of the building. In the Cheder Madrigot of the building are all the people in the building use it. That's not a Hilchos Chanukah. That's a Chotzer Shel Shutfim, and the Shutfim are using it. But here you have a thoroughfare of people going from one street to the other that are going through the building. That's called a Hilchos Chanukah. It does not depend in Hilchos Chanukah on the ownership of the area. It depends who is using it. And being that there is a public usage of that place, that's enough for it to be considered Rishus Harabim for Chanukah.
They have to be able to see it, but that's right in front of the menorah?
No.
He's a half a flight up of where the entrance is, so they can see it from the entrance.
That's good enough. Yeah. That's just on that subject. I'll tell you, I was standing with Rabbi Yankel Fisher once in front of his house. Rabbi Yankel Fisher, very famous Rav. He lived on Chof Pri Chodesh in Yerushalayim. In a house, yeah. And on that street, down the block, was the Cheder of Bells. Okay? Anybody who knows, I'm explaining to you, and that street has a reasonable grade on it. Not terrible. I said if somebody would be lighting in bells, and I pointed to that building over there, and they're above 20 amas. But from where we are over here, it's below 20 amas. Is that good? He said yes. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you where this is true also. There are people who, I'm going to use probably the most famous example, Rehov Sorotskin in Yerushalayim. You know what that is? Rehov Sorotskin in Yerushalayim, people have this walkway from the street to go into their houses, and the building is 3 or 4 flights below. When I measure the Rishus Harabim, I don't measure from the parking lot downstairs, because the parking lot downstairs is not Rishus Harabim. Right.
They have like 5 buildings with bridges.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? So the Rishus Harabim is exactly what we're talking about, the Rishus Harabim. Right. Now, theoretically, I just say that there are some people who, there was somebody on Lachish that let people go through to go. Okay. So in my opinion, the person who lives there could light on in front of their front door, and that's 100% okay.
And I should also be able to light on my front door, because the people, as they go up 6 steps and they make the turn, they also can see my mirror.
Do people go in your building up to?
My neighbor's the one that lets everybody go through.
Okay.
So as they're going up the steps, they can also see.
I just, I don't know if I agree with your neighbor's chesed. I don't know if he could do this chesed on the stairs are owned jointly by all the people on the building. Okay, so that called him Eitzer Shechziku by Rabim. Okay, then that would be permissible. But I'm just saying, so he could, right, and all the people that are going up, they could see you. Okay, so you have a great place to light. Okay.
People in a building.
No. People in your building is just like a cheder madrigot. People in all those people are not public people. They're shutfim in the staircase.
And those that are walking in the park,
okay, then that could be. If the people are, do people walk through the park and they could see where I have to be next to the gate to see your thing, or I could be walking, in that fictitious nachal, and I could see it. Okay, but if that's true, then that's fine. Okay, because then people can see from Rishus Harabim. The park is definitely Rishus Harabim. Okay, so these are some. Now, what I would like to mention is a famous thing, which is, if not mistaken, ascribed to Rav Moshe Feinstein, but I didn't see it in Rav Moshe Sefer this year, even though I looked for it. People who live in apartment buildings that are normally Esrim Amma is somewhere between the 3rd and 4th floor. I'm not going to get too involved, but that's usually where it is. And let's say you live on the 10th floor, so there's no problem. You can't light, right? But the question is that there's an apartment building across the street. Okay, so there are hundreds of people who can see. So most poskim say that that's nothing. Because those people that are across the street, are they a rabbin or are they many individuals? Many individuals. And therefore, they're private people in their houses.
It's true. Many private people.
Right.
But if it's a place that people frequent,
No. There's people frequent your house? I hope so. I hope they live there. No, but that's still a Rishus HaYachid. It's not a public place. We've been discussing this for the last 10 minutes, right? Your house it doesn't make a difference. If you run a free soup kitchen, then there could be what to talk about. Okay, so most places.
House is like
an individual, right?
And even though there are many individuals.
Right, many individuals does not. I want to just tell you something. I would like to give you people an important lesson in Torah. I'm going to ask it as a question, but it's more dramatic that way. The halacha is, if you have a house with shutfis akum, according to many, it could be potter from mezuzah. If you have an ear, sharuba shel Yisrael, it's chayev mezuzah. Even though 40% are goyim. Why? What? Because a year that's Ruba Yisrael is called a year Shel Yisrael. Even though that there are 40% of the voting members of the community that are non-Jews. They don't exist in the Tzibur forum. Okay? That's called a rabbim, or Shus Rabbim. And this idea is true in many situations. A person who became a ger on Gimel Nissen, when is the first time that he's going to give money for Korban Tzibur? 11 months after he became a Jew, right? When does the Korban Tzibur oila loy, that he has a chelik in the Korban Tzibur? Right? Why? Because he's a chelik of the Tzibur. He's not a shutif in the Korban, but he's a chelik of the Tzibur. You understand? Okay, now, when you have many people, that doesn't create a rabbin. There could be more people in one apartment building than a whole city before the Second World War, right? Right? Okay, but it's two totally different things. One is a private place, and one is a public place. Okay. Presume Nisa has to be to a rabbin, to Shus Rabbin.
We would prefer, let's say, a place where less individuals will see it, but it's considered more of a public flow affair or whatever it is.
That's correct. Correct.
So Rav Moshe passed in the end, a lot of people see it.
No, he said that passing that it's good, if I'm not mistaken.
It is good.
Yeah. Because he said you just have to have a lot of people seeing it, but that's not the
It's accepted in New York City, but not in other cities.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'm just sharing with you this concept because these are very important concepts. Okay, va'afilu locha kach doluk v'nicha lamata me'esrim lo yotza dadlok oisa mitzvah. If the person lit it on a place which was l'mayla me'esrim, and then he lowered it down, he's not yotza because the mitzvah is the act of lighting it, and when you lit it, when it was an apostle place, it doesn't become like it relit it when you moved it into the proper zone. Okay, says the Mishnah Berurah, the Malavi Shal Shatach, the Kolomat Mishashal Kilo Nichal Karka, Ve'ei Nikar Shal Balabais Nichasham. Mikal Mokom B'Diavad Yotze, even if you did it on the floor. Lamata Mi'asara Tvachim, the Iker Pirsum Anes Tvei Kishahu Lamata. Why? The Dover Ha'osi La'or, Ein Derech La'aniach Kol Kach Lamata. Something that you do to illuminate, you don't put it so low down. V'ayim Bel Yerabah, Shekasav Hada Ein Oilam Nizar, Bezem Mishum Desemchel Al Mordechai, Shekasav Da'ash Shahugul La'aniach B'fnim, Ein Kpeda Bezeh. We light it inside, so that we're not worried about this. Achin Tur Sasam Bezeh, Umasha Desfile, De'en L'Chalek Bezeh, V'chein Noagim Kol HaMedaktekim, like it says in the Beis Yosef. V'imdor Ba'aliyah, Menichu B'chalon, Shur L'tzar Shosarabim, Afilu Ma'chalon, Gavoa Yoser Me'asar Tvachim, Mikakes Aliyah, because a window, you're lighting in the window, and it's self-understood, it's not there to illuminate your room. If יש לו שתי חלונות, אחד למעלה מ10 ואחד למטה מ10 טפחים, ועל היריחו לחלון, which is למטה מ10 טפחים. ובנרס בית הכנסת, המנהג שהמנורה במקום גבוה, and that's for Pesumei Nisa of the menorah in the shul. L'mayla. No, it doesn't say that because people don't. Aina Sholta is not in. People don't see it if it's higher than Etzimama.
What's he trying to say? They can pass the ring with the prayer.
Then Asar Tzochem. The Malam Yasuv, the Loy Sholta Ba'ena, Ba'enaf Kamina, Benim Madlika V'chutz or Madlika B'bayis, you cannot put it higher than 20 hours. I'll just share with you, there is a bit of a discussion in the Paiskim about, we say up to 20 hours high, you could see, do we say the same thing going down or not? You know, it's a person who lives in like those apartment buildings that I was talking about, that you have to, look down if that's good or not. Most places can say that it's good. Okay. Yes. 21 and up is not good. I'll just share with you a question which I had many years ago. These are questions that I don't have nowadays because I usually laugh at them, even though I'm not sure exactly why. We say a person sees up to 20 amas. I would like to share with you something. The fellow standing behind you is about a head taller than you. Okay? So now, when we judge 20 amas, okay? That's the question. That's not an answer. Okay, we'll let you suffer. Okay. Is that the answer to the question? I don't think so. I don't think so.
And Amma also, his Amma is much bigger than my Amma, right?
That's right. But an Amma is the Beinani's Amma. So according to you, I'm just saying it should be 19 Ammas. You're at least that Amma taller than the 4. The average person is probably like 3 hours tall, right? Is that about right? What? Okay, so it should be 18 hours. If we went by the average. Yeah, I'm just telling you this is math. Right. No. All right.
Was it better to pass it on the first floor, would it have been walked past, or down on the midricha, like on the street and footpath, which is not your assurance?
Where are you lighting at Nachadolev?
Me personally?
No, you're asking obviously about yourself, right?
Yeah, about myself.
Now, either on your Merpeset, yeah.
On the first floor,
yeah.
Or downstairs on the midricha, wherever it's passing.
I would say that this is a machlokes haposkim. Here's a specific question. According to the Briskerov, he would say you should light upstairs. According to Eliashiv, he would tell you to light it downstairs. And this has to do with a totally different question. And this is a person who lives on the second floor. And he has a merpeset that goes out to a porch. Can he light his menorah on that door and call that the Pesach HaPesuch L'Rishos HaRabim?
You said people are obviously not going to see.
No, everybody's going to see. Let's say he does have a Pesach somewhere else. That's not my question. It's not Pesuch L'Rishos HaRabim. You can't get from there to Rishos HaRabim unless you're going to have somebody have a net down there and you're going to jump. Right? Very Pesuch, yeah. Okay? So they say B'Shem the Briskerov that the fireman could use it. That's called Pesach Pesuch L'Rishos HaRabim. It's a Pesach and it's exposed to Rishos HaRabim. Other poskim say that that's not a Pesach Pesuch L'Rishos HaRabim. You can't get to Rishos HaRabim from there. At best, maybe it's a chaloin. And I'm not going to get involved if that means you light it inside. Right, it's not Pesuch L'Rishos HaRabim. The Pesach is not Pesuch L'Rishos HaRabim.
And Pesuch L'Rishos HaRabim clearly according to this means not about people seeing it. That's what you're trying to say.
No. That's the next different halacha. You have to light Pesach L'Rishos HaRabim in a place where people could see. But first, it has to be a Pesach L'Rishos HaRabim.
That's not the machlokes that's going on here. That's you need it.
No, is this called a Pesach L'Rishos HaRabim?
I would have understood when you told me Pesach L'Rishos HaRabim. The kavanah of that phrase is that therefore a lot of people will see it. So
No.
Pesach.
No.
Pesach L'Rishos HaRabim.
Pesach L'Rishos HaRabim means that this is the way that you go from Rishos HaRabim into your house. When the people see this door, right? This is my exit to the street. Right? Now it's not my exit to the street on the third floor. It just doesn't work. Okay, maybe it is an exit for some people, but you can only use it once. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
The other side is that everyone knows
right. It's right. That's not what you're talking about. That people see that it's shaykh to you. Okay. This has to do with a little bit which I discussed last time. I said over the shita of some Rishonim will say that Malika B'Chaloin doesn't mean you light it in the window. It means you light it downstairs, negative the window. All right. Okay. Next halacha. Mitzvah alicha batefach hasamuch lepesach mismo. A person should light it on the left side within a tefach of the small. Kedei shetia mezuzah biyamin v'ner Chanukah mismol. You should have the mezuzah on your right side and the ner Chanukah on the small. V'ein mezuzah b'pesach minichu biyamin. If there is no mezuzah there, for whatever reason you don't have a mezuzah there, then you put the menorah on the right side. V'minichu b'delach atzmo. And if you put it into the doorway itself, yanicheno mechetzio shel hakrisa letzatzmo. You put it in the doorway on the left side of the doorway. Okay, now I'm just going to ask a question. Mechetzio shel hakrisa letzatzmo. On the left side.
From the middle towards the left.
Right.
With all these different approaches and cheaters to lighting the menorah, that no one can be able to say all the cheaters. If you like the window, you're not going to be able to do this. If you like the stairs, you might not be the best position. It seems, whatever you do, you're only going to be able to see some of the cheaters. Is that right?
Come to my house in Yerushalayim on Hanukkah, and you will see somebody who is yetzer all the cheaters. Okay? One menorah. What?
It's rear.
Okay.
Okay, so
I want to tell you something. There's somebody who used to live across the street from me in Yerushalayim, and he happens to be from a very wealthy family. And then I found out that I thought he was from a wealthy family. I found out that his father-in-law is a world-class wealthy fellow. And he came to me once and he said he's buying a new apartment for whatever reason. And he wants to make sure that he has a lechatchila place to light the menorah. And if he's not going to have a lechatchila place to light the menorah, he's not going to buy the apartment. So when he decided to buy an apartment, they had to come to tell him where to light it. That would be according to everyone. That's like, different people have different concerns when they buy a house. This was his concern. Okay, you buy a house in order to do mitzvahs, right? So you want to make sure that you can do them. Okay. Mine?
I'm just saying, this thing we're talking about right now, you're putting it.
We didn't discuss that machlokes is in about 4 semanim from now. We didn't discuss that machlokes yet. Okay, we're just discussing it's on the left side or the right side of the doorway. We're not discussing which angle it's on. Okay. Okay. Miu bizman hazeh shekula madlikim bifnim ve'ein heker livnei rishos harabim klal. We don't light outside at all. Ein lochosh kol kach im madlikim b'tefach hasamach lePesach. But it doesn't really make so much of a difference where you light it. We call mokom minin lahadik b'tefach hasamach lePesach kemo b'meihem ve'ein l'shanas. And those who doesn't look like they have a very chassidish group over here, but chassidim generally light in the doorway that goes from the hall to their salon in the tefach hasamuch, and that's based on this what you said right now. I'm not going to get involved in what happened to doing all the things that are lechatchila, but they do this because it always has to light the tefach hasamuch. They're not willing to bend on that idea. Okay. Ella imkein rab minei abayis she'odif yosef lahadik kol echad b'makom miyuchad mila'orav haneres b'yachad. If you have a lot of people and they're all going to crowd the space, then you're not going to be able to tell who lit what. It's better to light in different places so that we won't have the problem, which we discussed 2 weeks ago, of knowing how many candles are for who. Ve'ein hekek hamaneres madlikim kol makom yizor shelo lahadik b'makom she'madlik haneres kol hashana. You should always be careful not to light in the place where you light candles all the time. Again, we will assume that this is just regular candles for light. You should have some kind of a heker. I'll just say that I one time thought about it. What would you say? There are many people who have in this country, they have like either a shelf or they have like a cupboard that they light their Shabbos candles in. If somebody lit their menorah in there, what would you say? He lit it for some religious purpose, or he lit it to get light? Yeah.
It's in the menorah.
Okay, but either wasn't in a menorah.
It's not in the menorah. It doesn't look.
I don't think that there's anybody here who uses candles for light. Right? I'm willing to make that statement.
Not when the electricity is working.
Yeah, okay.
But I think most people have a question. I don't know if people can answer. People will be like, what?
What is that?
Yeah, like, what are you doing? They want to go, Hanukkah.
I would say if it was Hanukkah, I think they would. If it's not Hanukkah, then they won't say that. But okay, we'll just leave that open. I just thought it was an interesting thought. Okay.
Basically, reinstall this thing, because I was thinking this thing, right out the window, basically, still have it a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Bebeis HaKnesses menicha b'koisel darom, or b'dor ha'menorah v'sadrim mizrach ha'mayrav. In the shul, we were supposed to put it on the southern wall, which that's something like a southern wall. Why is that something like a southern wall? Where's the southern wall in this room? Do you know? I asked you. I didn't ask you to take a look where we light the menorah. Where? Yeah.
Where the door is.
Okay, I'm aware of that. So why do we light the menorah over here? Yeah. What? It's on the southern side. Okay.
in this box, in this thing.
In the southern
wall, but it's on this side.
The reason why you're supposed to do it on the southern side is because in the Beis Hamikdash it was on the southern side. This is on the southern side. Now it happens to be that this wall doesn't go the whole width of the shul, right? But it is a southern wall.
What if in the new building we have a rectangle? Let's say the room is completely rectangle.
Right, so then we would be lighting it over there.
All the way.
Right. Okay, so we could already put in the orders for the...
No indentation.
No, all you need is a shelf, that's all.
Well, if you want to light it closer.
All right. There's reason why I didn't want to light it dafka over there. I think that this is a much safer place.
You have a real southern wall. Why choose a funny side wall?
Because I think this is a better place. I think this is more central. I think there's a lot of advantages to this place. And you're also Makayim that which it says. Okay?
You're like southern wall has like a few like stages to it, you say. So it starts all the way in the thing, then you have like a and then
if I wanted to light it where that Nitziv Hayom is, that would also be fine. That's also a southern wall. Okay? Right? If I would have lit it there, nobody would have asked me questions. That's not a southern wall. Right? There, everybody would have been happy with that. Right? Right? The only reason why you're asking this question is because this one is smaller. And, yeah, but it's... people discount it that it exists. Okay? But I think that it's 100% fine, and I'm happy they light it there. Okay. All right. Now the next thing over here, umadlikin umavarchim bebeis hakneses mishum persum enisa. We make a bracha, I'm lighting in the beis hakneses mishum persum enisa, even though no one's yaitza with that halacha. This is something that has to be explained. Okay, Vedam Yaitza B'Neshel Beis HaKnesses, V'tzarech Lachzor Lahadik B'Beisai. V'nogdim Lahadik B'Beis HaKnesses Ben Mincha L'Mayrev. Now this is an extremely strange halacha. In this shul, as in most shuls, the shul I used to daven in Ezra's Torah, they would light between Mincha and Mayrev. And in most shuls, they light before Mayrev. What's going on? No, you're supposed to light after Mincha before Mayrev in the shul. It's not the Zman of halachas yet.
Right. And most shuls are like before Mayrev.
It's well past the Zman.
You daven mincha 20 minutes before Shkia, right? Or whatever.
Let's say daven mincha before Shkia, and daven mincha 20 minutes after Shkia. Okay, when should you be lighting the menorah? I asked you, when do you think?
Generally, I don't know, after 10.
No, when should you light it in shul?
Yeah, before Mayrev.
Okay, that's not when they do it. They light it after mincha and before the last kaddish. Okay, that's what?
That's the Rav saying. That's what it says here. I would have thought.
That's what it says there.
No,
read it.
what it says here is after mincha is over, before you start Mayrev. Like that's what mincha.
Let's just see how he writes it over here. Vayeshev. Yeah. And here. That's the way. Mokav menorah mami b'tzadarim. Okay. It's all about where to do it. Mevorach. Okay. Achrei tfilas mincha lefnei aleinu l'shabeach. Okay, no,
Yeah, but lama.
That's what it says.
It's not between Mincha and Mariv. It means between Mincha, when Mincha's over, and Mariv, before Mariv
Aleinu
starts.
is after you finish davening.
The different schools you gave. You said Aleinu is part of davening. What for Tom?
It's a machlokes, what it is.
Okay, so Pashtus, we all view Aleinu as part of davening. So why would you do that? And then why is that what it says here?
Okay, but that's what it says here. I'm just
how?
Okay.
Here it says between Mincha and Mariv before that. Aleinu.
Okay, well, if I'm just telling you, if I were you, I wouldn't have written between Mincha and Mariv either. I would have said at the Zman of Hadlaka.
No, so we're clearly not looking for the Zman of Hadlaka. We're clearly avoiding Zman of Hadlaka.
Why?
I don't know. But that clearly what it says here is not Zman Hadlaka, rather between Mincha and Mariv, probably because that's what people are there, or I don't know.
Right, whatever.
But why middle of Mincha? Why by Aleinu? Wait till at least darker before Mariv. And you fulfill between, I would assume, you fulfill between Mincha and Mariv.
Okay, the answer to the question is that this hadlaka is not the hadlaka that you become a mitzvah with. It's a hadlaka pursuing Nisa. And that means when the people are there, that's when you light it. That's before some people leave, I guess. That's, okay.
Like Kiddush and Friday night in the shul. The reason for that was
for the orchim.
People used to sleep in the shul, didn't they, or stay in the shul?
They're not in the shul, upstairs, yeah.
So how come we can't say that the lighting the Hanukkah in the shul is also the orchim?
There's this great discussion in the Rishonim, whether that's the reason, but all the Rishonim say that even if no one's being yaitza, you light, okay? And according to everyone, if you lit at that time before Aleinu, you Zachar Yaitza, right? It's at least after plug, right? So, I will say, just for people like you who have such sveikas, the Amshanova Rebbe, who is a very strong Rabbeinu Tam man, he only lights the menorah on Erev Shabbos 3 minutes before Shkia. Our Shkia. Because that is already plug of Rabbeinu Tam. Okay? But most people are not so neurotic, I'll use that word. A friend of mine was there once on Shabbos Chanukah, and I think there were 6 candles. He only ended up lighting 2. Because he ran out of time, and he just dropped the Shabbos. Right. That's it. All right. No, I'm just saying that's his, okay. Well, that's, if you're a Talmud Chacham and a Machmer, that's what happens. Okay. Okay, maybe we'll stop here and continue up here next week.